Alright, today we're going to talk about SohCahToa. So you might see there's three triangles here. They each have a side x, they each have a side 10, and they each have an angle 20. But all three of these triangles are different. So your question is, how do we solve for the missing sides? So that's where this acronym SohCahToa comes from. So before we get started, we first need to figure out the names of things. So if this is going to be my reference angle, sometimes the other angle is the reference, but right now if we're talking about this angle being our reference angle, we need to always remember that far from it over here is the opposite side. Touching it is going to be the adjacent side. I'm just going to label the adjacent side with an A. And across from the 90-degree angle is always the hypotenuse. So there's my 90-degree angle, so there's the hypotenuse. So what we're going to be doing is labeling A, O, and H on our triangle, and that will help us figure out what trig ratio we're going to use. So whenever we're doing sine, the ratio is opposite over hypotenuse. Wherever we're doing cosine, the ratio is adjacent over hypotenuse. And wherever we're doing tangent, it's opposite over adjacent. So you might want to hit pause and copy this down. So here are three examples we're going to be doing, and we're going to be trying to find a missing side. And I'm going to show you how to use the calculator, and if you don't have the calculator, I'm going to show you how to use the table. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark what we have. So here's our 20-degree angle. So this is far away from it, it's the opposite side. And this here is touching it. So I would call this the adjacent side. So looking at SohCahToa, adjacent and opposite, I'm going to be using tangent. So I'm going to write tangent 20 degrees equals opposite over adjacent, so 10 over x. And now we're going to solve that. So I can use my calculator and I can type in tan 20, and then I get this decimal. Zero 0.36397 equals 10 over x. Now let's pretend that I didn't want to use the calculator. You can also use the table. So I can tangent 20 degrees. So I can go here to 20 degrees, and tangent, if I look here on the top, the tangent's right there. So I go tangent 20 degrees, and I've got 0.6340, which is the same thing we wrote here, 0.3640. It's close. Or I could have used the other tangent handout. It's a little bit easier to see. Let's see, 20 degrees. So tangent 20 degrees, 0.36397. Okay. So now if I want to solve for this, I could put this over 1, and then I can cross multiply, and then I get x times that decimal, 0.36397, equals 10. Okay, and then when I have this times that, I have to divide both sides by the decimal. So I'm going to do 10 divided by the decimal, so second answer, and then I get 27.47. Okay. And what did we do? We divided both sides by 0.36397. Okay, to get this. All right, now let's look at the next one here. We've got the opposite side, and we've got the hypotenuse. So which one has opposite and hypotenuse? It's sine. So I'm going to write sine 20 degrees equals opposite over hypotenuse, so 10 over x. Okay, and I could either use my calculator, sine 20, and I'm going to get 0.342. 0.342 equals 10 over x. And like I mentioned before, you could use your table. So if I go sine 20, I've got 0.342 also. Okay. And then once again, you could put this over 1, and then we can cross multiply. So then I end up with x times 0.342 equals 10. Okay, and then to solve for x, I'm going to have to divide by 0.342, and then I get, so I have 10 divided by this decimal, 10 divided by that decimal, and I get 29.2. And that is the length of this side here. Okay. Last one. We're trying to find this side here. So we look at here and we say, okay, I've got the adjacent, and here I've got the hypotenuse. So when I have adjacent and hypotenuse, I look up here, and adjacent and hypotenuse, I'm going to use cosine, because it has adjacent and hypotenuse. So I've got cosine 20 equals adjacent over hypotenuse, 10 over x. Okay, so I can do cosine 20 degrees, and I get 0.9396. Okay. 0.939, I'll round it to 97. Okay, equals 10 over x. Same process as the other ones. Put this over 1, cross multiply, I end up with x times 0.9397 equals 10. So I'm going to do 10 divided by that decimal. So let's do it. 10 divided by that decimal, and then we get 10.6. All right. So there we go. Now hit pause and replay to watch this to see it again if you need some extra help. Okay. Now we're going to do something called inverse tangent when you're trying to find the angle. It's a little bit different. These notes are very important also. So once again, from this angle, we've got the opposite side, and we've got across from the square is our hypotenuse. Something I often do first, before I even get started, is I'll just, on the top of my page, write SohCahToa. That just helps me get started. Okay, so opposite and hypotenuse, I'm going to be dealing with sine, right? So I can write sine x equals opposite over hypotenuse, 3 over 10. Well, 3 divided by 10 is, for those who aren't sure, 3 divided by 10, it's 0.3, right? Okay, so I've got sine x equals 0.3, and so there's two ways I can do this. I can get my sine table and say, okay, where is 0.3? Okay, 0.3, that's going to give me an angle of 18 degrees. So I can say x equals 18 degrees. An alternative way I could do it, let's say I didn't have the table. I could hit, since this is sine, we're doing the inverse of sine, so I could hit the second button and sine, And notice it has sine with a little -1 power there. That means inverse sine. And I'm going to put 0.3, and then I hit enter, and then it tells me the angle is 17.45 degrees, which is close to 18. So this is another way of getting it. So what did I just do? I could hit the second button, and then I can hit sine, and then 0.3, and then I hit enter, and then I will get the same answer. So second sine 0.3 enter, and what this looks like is sine -1 0.3. Okay. Okay. Now let's look at the next one here. We've got this is touching the angle here, so this is adjacent. This is across from the square, it's hypotenuse. So when we have adjacent and hypotenuse, we're going to be using cosine, right? Adjacent and hypotenuse, we're going to be using cosine. So cosine x equals adjacent over hypotenuse, 4 over 10. Now 4 over 10 is 0.4, right? So I can say cosine x equals 0.4. So let's do the calculator way first. I can hit second and cosine, and then 0.4, and then enter, and let's see what we get. Second cos 0.4, enter, and I get 66.4 degrees. 66.4 degrees. And when you saw this on the calculator, it looks like this. So when you type in this, it shows up as cosine with this little -1 exponent thing, 0.4. And this means we're doing the inverse of the cosine of the ratio in order to figure out the angle. Now let's use the table in case we felt uncomfortable. So if I wanted to use the table, I could say, okay, 0.4, where is 0.4 on my table? Okay, here's 0.4, and it looks like it's either 66 or 67, and here we get 66.4. So either of those answers is fine, where you get x equals 66 or 67 degrees. Both of those would be acceptable, correct answers. Okay? So, last one. So we've got the angle, so this is far away from it, it's opposite. This one is touching it, the angle x, so this one's adjacent. Remember, hypotenuse is always across from the square. Okay, we're not trying to find the hypotenuse, we don't have it. So we have opposite and adjacent, we're going to use tangent. So now I'm going to write tangent x equals opposite over adjacent, so 6 over 5. So I can get my ratio, what is 6 divided by 5, and we're going to get 1.2. So now I'm going to say tangent x equals 1.2, and so now I can use my calculator, and just like before, I'm going to hit second tan 1.2, enter, and let's do it. Second tan 1.2, enter, and I'm going to get 50.2 degrees. Okay, so, and how does it look? It looks like tan with the little -1 power of 1.2, and this gives me my inverse function, which gets me the angle. Now, once again, if you wanted to use the table, you're welcome to use the table. So tangent x of 1.2, so I look for 1.2, and here's 1.2. It's either 50 degrees or 51 degrees, and that would be acceptable if you said that x equals 50 degrees or 51 degrees. Okay? It shows me that you use the table and you've got it correct. So please hit pause and replay if you need extra time, and good luck on your homework.